Hi guys, so we're going to be doing season 2, essentially part 2 of this little rewrite and redesign series. If you haven't watched part 1, it is me redesigning Marinette slash Ladybug, and I'm rewriting season 1 of Miraculous Ladybug. And in this video we're going to be doing Cat Noir and Adrien's redesign, and then also we're going to be doing the rewrite for season 2. And if you really like this video, then stay tuned for season 3 and season 4's rewrites and redesigns. So let's get right into the background. The Guardians gave their Miraculous to people for the good of humanity. But what were they protecting humanity from? Moth is the villain of the show, but he's using an object created to protect people from something. So what was the Miraculous made to fight against? I can't imagine heroes being needed for war when we had knights, and in the present for a bank robbery when we now have cops. So that's a bit of a plot hole we're going to be fixing up. My backstory. The Miraculous was created to fight against an evil spirit that wants control over Earth. The Guardians then went and created the Miraculous by going to the animal spirits asking for their abilities to be put into the jewelry to create some heroes. The spirits then turned themselves into kwamis so that they would then be able to guide the heroes with their wisdom. The evil entity was defeated, and the Miraculous continued to exist in case of anything like that happening again. Now, would Ladybug and Cat Noir ever deal with this evil entity? No, they wouldn't. I think it's such a cliche for there to be this big baddie that was defeated in the past, and then it comes back for the present heroes to defeat. I don't want to repeat. I don't want it to be cliche. So they're not going to have to deal with this entity, but it is, I think, a bit more of a fleshed out backstory. Is it still a bit cliche? Yeah, but it makes more sense than the one we currently have that we don't even know what they were made for. You know what I mean? Originally. So yeah. Now let's get into Moth. So Hawkmoth essentially akumatizes himself to lead suspicion off of him from being Hawkmoth, which is such a clever idea, and we learned two things about Hawkmoth in the season, and by him doing that also. One is that he's still able to have an Akuma once he detransforms, while with Cat Noir and Ladybug, I don't believe their powers would still be active once transformed back. And secondly, he is able to stay transformed after using his power, unlike Ladybug and Cat Noir that have to detransform after using Cataclysm and Lucky Charm, giving us more insight into how the Miraculous can be used once mastered. The only thing that really gets me is that after he detransforms after being akumatized, Cat Noir runs to him saying, "Are you okay, father?" and then stops himself before saying the full word father. Why didn't Gabriel catch on to that? He wouldn't be foggy-minded like other akumatized victims since he did it to himself and was well aware of what he was doing, so he should have picked up on that since he is so smart. Marinette. We see many traits of Marinette in season 2 flourish, including her selflessness. She gave the book back to Adrien's father that she borrowed just so that Adrien can come back to school. We're not going to go too much into Marinette this season just because I did that for season 1 and she's not going to have many changes. So yeah, let's just get into akumatized victims. In episode 2, we see Nadia almost kill Chloe on the train. After seeing Alia in later seasons be able to break free from her possession, we now know that the person deep down has some control over their actions. People like Nadia here should be held somewhat responsible for almost killing Chloe and Alia in this episode. So yes, we would see some kind of trial happen for a few of the episodes. Not too deep. We would just kind of hear, oh, Nadia's in jail for a few months or something like that, which I know is kind of hectic for a children's show, but in this rewrite, that's not really a children's show anymore. It's more for teenagers, and we all know that there's a law and there's an order, so I don't think it's too far-fetched. So yeah. Episode 3, we see Adrien go to Chloe and say that she cannot be friends with her, with someone that treats people so awfully, telling her to essentially be nice. This would be the turning point of Chloe's redemption arc. Now, I don't think every character needs a redemption arc, but I do think Chloe falls into the category of when it is needed and wanted. She later hosts a party to prove that she is nice, but it's obvious that it's a fake niceness and is only being done for Adrien and not the rest of her classmates. This is good though, and she isn't going to immediately change, and that's why I find it pretty well. people take time to change. So her hosting a party and having that little shock of someone saying she's terrible to people is good for the beginning of her redemption arc. And she naturally will still be mean to her classmates occasionally during this time. Also, who remembers Kim's crush on Chloe? Because I completely forgot about it. In my rewrite, they would be endgame, but of course the improved versions of them would be endgame. I would still want them to both grow as individuals during season 2 before becoming a thing at the end of season 3. Chloe, however, protects Ladybug from being Cataclysm. We would think most people would do that, but no one reacted besides her. That shows she's a fast thinker and she's good deep down, another indicator of her slowly changing. We also see Alia mention Marinette should have her own blog when a bunch of her friends are modeling some of her creations. We should have seen more of this. Marinette actually having like an Instagram account and getting slowly more known for her creations as the series went on, I think it would have been an interesting way of Marinette putting too much on her plate. Being Ladybug, having school, needing to hang out with friends and family, and then also having to do the social media, I think it would have been pretty interesting to see her have an eventual breakdown and feel overwhelmed by it all. This is a relatable moment because for me, I tend to put too much on my plate, and I know many others tend to do this as well. So I think this would have been something that, Marinette could have had a turning point in some ways. So yeah. We see in episode 4 Adrien showing Marinette some fencing, and I think that's something I didn't touch on much in season 1's rewrite, but I'm gonna catch on it right now, is that Adrien should have been the better fighter in season 1, while in season 2 Marinette would catch up to Adrien. Since he would have some history with fencing classes, he would have also used his baton like it was the sword more in season 1 and slowly become more free and loose with it in season. We are introduced to Kagami as a hard-headed, talented girl. She is expected to be perfect by her mother, which is why I think Adrien and her would have been good friends, not a couple. Maybe on the verge of becoming one, but that's where that ends. Kagami would not be with Adrien because she has too much on her plate, and Adrien would develop stronger feelings for Ladybug and conflicting feelings for Marinette. When it comes to Marinette's birthday, she turns 17. We meet her grandma, Tom's mother, who seems to not know much about her granddaughter. This can add depth to Marinette's character. She already has such loving parents. Having an absent grandmother that shows up expecting Marinette to still be the way that she was when she was 10 is such a good idea. What I don't like though is the grandmother completely not understanding anything others are saying around her. I understand making some characters just talk over others and all that, but she just heard what they had to say and just it didn't register. So the fact she got akumatized is just something that didn't have to happen. Seemed way too much of a forced written thing, and this gave me the idea. It actually would have been the perfect time to break the format. The format of Adrien and Marinette being in their civilian form in the beginning of an episode, someone being akumatized, Ladybug and Captain Warrior having to come and resolve the, fight, and then having to resolve whatever conflict there was in the civilian part of their lives. So yeah, I would have liked it if we just had Marinette have her birthday episode as only civilians, showing her resolve the slight conflict with her grandmother in the civilian form. And yeah, in season 2 the format would be broken in some episodes, some being fully civilian and others fully superhero. And a quick note on the animation, if I was ZAG Studios, I would have rather had less episodes per season, with every episode being impactful to the story. So why I say this is because some episodes, including this one, the animation and quality control just sucks so much. Rather have fewer episodes with a good and established company than many episodes and making only the impactful ones be from the good animation company. That way not going over budget, but also, just making a better season overall. Also, as we see Marinette be unblindfolded, she just looks at Adrien. I would have rewritten it that she looks at everyone smiling and happy, then we would zoom in on Adrien and she would get a small blush on her cheeks. And when Adrien gave her that friendship bracelet, she should have kept it around at least until the end of the season, either shown in her purse when she opens it to talk to Tiki, you would see it in there, or later on when she gets a scooter. And yeah, I would have written her to get a scooter in season 3 because she would be 18, so it would be legal for her to have one, and she will have it dangling on the scooter's container. When it comes to I don't really know how to say this, Gigan Titan, we see Malin ask the question, why doesn't Marinette just ask Adrien out? When they were busy making a plan for Marinette to talk to Adrien, Since my rewrite, Marinette has just developed small feelings for Adrien and hasn't had a crush on him for such a long time. We also, like in the season 1 rewrite, we've declared that she wouldn't be the kind of stalker like she is now. So, yeah, this kind of wouldn't really happen. We would make this episode a date, but also not a date. Marinette would ask Adrien out, but she would naturally assume it was just like two friends hanging out. So yeah, Marinette goes up to Adrien on the weekend and asks to hang out. She would know a bit of his schedule naturally from just being friends and listening to him when talking, so she would know this day he is free from all his extracurriculums. He then says yes, excited to hang out with Marinette one-on-one and get to know her better as a friend. They go watch a movie, get ice cream, and walk around Paris taking photos together. However, Nakuma will attack, making their date end short. They would defeat the villain and go back home, both reflecting on the date earlier. Adrien being happy to have gotten closer to Marinette as a friend, and Marinette being a little sad it was only as friends, but happy regardless since it was a step in the right direction. In Glaciator, Cat Noir asks Ladybug on a date, however she is unable to make it and she already had plans with friends. He feels stood up even though she never said she was coming. We then get the moment where Cat Noir comes to Marinette for comfort and reveals his feelings for Ladybug to her. I would keep the fact that he gets stood up and goes to Marinette, however I would change that instead she did say she would come after her friend's outing, however she forgot to join. This gives Cat Noir more of a reason to be upset. When he takes Marinette to the rooftop showing her the candles and flowers he set up for Ladybug, this would be a moment we see Marinette realizing how much Cat Noir is showing effort to be together. We would get a heartfelt conversation between the two of them before being interrupted by the villain. The ending of the episode would stay the same, Ladybug revealing she likes someone else, while Cat Noir accepts that. Yes, he accepts it for the first time, and he decides to let go of his feelings for Ladybug. He would struggle for a few episodes of course, but by the end of the season, his eyes would be on someone else. Alia finds out that Ladybug is the same age as her and her classmates in episode 10. This is also the episode Ladybug is Alia the Fox Miraculous. Honestly, the idea of Alia having a Miraculous isn't bad. She would still have it in the rewrite, as it would be a good reason as to why Alia would give up on finding Ladybug's real identity, since she would know the struggle. She would continue to have the blog though and update often on what the superheroes are up to, but that would be all. We see Adrien has a fan in the 11th episode, which is a realistic take since he is a model and all, but why make it over an ad who actually starts becoming a fan over someone from an ad? Have you ever just looked at the TV being like, you know what, this person is my inspiration? I don't think anyone's ever done that. So they should have made it from like a modeling gig and someone inspiring to be a model themselves start idolizing Adrien who already is one. That would have been a lot more of a realistic take. When Marinette helps him get away from the mob of people, what goes through my mind is that this is such a perfect moment for some romantic tension to build between the two of them while they are running away from the mob, getting to know one another more and more like it is originally in the episode. But added on top of that, wouldn't it be cool if they had an almost kiss at the end of the episode where they both hesitate? Adrien because he still is getting over his feelings for Ladybug and doesn't want to use Marinette as kind of as a rebound in a way, and Marinette because she just got nervous. This would be before Adrien and then his father go and watch the movie that his mother starred in, which by the way, the writers just completely abandoned the slow progression of Adrien and his father's relationship, which we shall change in this rewrite. We meet Luka, and honestly, he deserves the world. I love him as a side character and someone that steals Marinette's attention away from Adrien for a bit. It's a bit of a tug and war this season. Cat Noir loses feelings for Ladybug and slowly develops feelings for Marinette, just when Marinette is now moving on to Luka. Frustrating, right? I wouldn't change anything about how they met. He gave her a little plectrum which shows how meaningless he finds material things, which is such a unique character trait, and Luka seems to find Marinette quite intriguing immediately after meeting, which is so sweet. We also see Adrien and his father once again having a bonding moment. Them playing the piano together is a nice progression into them having a better relationship. When Adrien comes onto board, we see him be invited to be part of the band, but I don't remember him ever doing that again. I would remove this part completely because he already has so many extracurriculums. Let the man breathe. It's also never a part of his story again, so not really harming his story by doing that. It frustrates me so much that Alia doesn't believe Marinette when it comes to Lila being a liar. Why doesn't she? She's her best friend. She should hear Marinette out and hear what she has to say about Lila. Volpina being one of Season 2's final villains is such a parallel to Season 1. Not only that, but the fact everyone becomes akumatized, and in my rewritten version of season 1 season finale being multiple Volpinas, it would be an even better parallel. Not only that, but why does Alia never question the fact that she knows Nino and Chloe are Carapace and Queen Bee, so 2 other people in her class? She also mentioned earlier that she believes Ladybug is the same age as she is. Why doesn't she just start to wonder, what if Ladybug and Cat Noir are in my school, since Ladybug has the tendency of giving Miraculous to people there? When all the other heroes get akumatized, Adrien says to Marinette between them all that they should do what they have always worked, the duo. Marinette smiles and they save Paris once again with the help of the Parisians. However, as we know in later seasons, Ladybug forgets this moment, it seems, but in my rewritten version, this would be something Marinette will keep with her and not forget. The season remaining romantically would be about Marinette and Luka become closer until one day Adrien asks Marinette out as friends. She says yes, and she realizes she still likes Adrien. This would then be resolved with Marinette giving Adrien that kiss on the cheek at the end of the season like originally. We will blush slightly and walk away slightly in shock. For Chloe, we would get to see her in the background go from being mean to others to not making any drama. She wouldn't be nice and kind yet, but definitely will learn in season 2 to stay out of trouble. She would still use Sabrina in not so nice way, but that will change. Because, I don't know about you, but people tend to treat the people closest to them the worst, and that's how Chloe's progression will go. She would treat everyone around her horribly, and she's just going to treat the people closest to her horribly, and then eventually she's going to be a decent character. And then when we refer to my redesign of Captain Worm Adrien, I must say I struggled quite a bit with male anatomy and just their clothing and stuff, so I'm not as proud of it as I was for Ladybug and Marinette. However, I'm still pretty proud of it, so yeah, I think I prefer Adrien though than I do Cat Noir. Cat Noir is a bit rushed, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, Adrien, I kind of gave him more of a casual look. I still wanted him to have that chic look to him because I mean his father is a fashion designer and is a model, but I just wanted him to still, have some freedom. He's not really into being fashionable. His dad forces him to be, but he still has a little bit of room to kind of be chilled. So yeah, he's just in a comfortable outfit. And then when it comes to Cat Noir, his hair I like in Ladybug and Redesign. She has light bluer hair than Marinette does. Marinette has more black hair. So for Adrien, how we kind of see that he isn't Adrien is that his hair goes from that blonde look to more of that orangey undertone. And the reason behind that is because some people actually have an orange undertone in their hair, and that's kind of going to become more prominent when he turns into Cat Noir. Wasn't really intentional. I just took the darkest part of his blonde area and I was just gonna make him a dirty blonde, but then it ended up looking orange and I was like, well, guess he's a redhead now. But yeah, so there's the reason behind his little redesign. I struggled quite a bit with the background to just make them both pop. So there's the finished look, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, the season 3 is going to come in 2 to 3 weeks, and I hope you really enjoyed this video. Goodbye.